Welcome in. This is Monday. This is our Women's Healthy Living Talk. We're talking about mastering your health. Welcome in, my sweet Jennifer. How are you?
I'm doing well. Quick favor. I just want to make sure you can't hear my AC in the background.
I can hear it just a little bit, but it's not bad.
Okay, let me go push the button real quick.
Okay, at least we're on and we can hear each other. So hopefully it will stay that way.
Yeah, that's the exciting part. I can hear
Yeah.
you. You can hear me. We're good.
Yeah, I thought I would try this one more time. So, welcome in.
Thank
Guys,
you.
we are talking about health tonight. We should be live on Facebook. We're going to check that out on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on the pages. So let's go and let's just see if we are live. Yep, we're live on my Living Well page. That way ladies can share it out and maybe tag whoever you would like to tag. There's somebody that you would like to see this, because we're going to be talking about health. You're going to be hearing stories tonight of people who have literally transformed. Yep, it's on my page too. People who have literally transformed their life. We're going to be just sharing with you some hope. It is spring. It's time to renew. It's time to reclaim our health. It's time to step into what your body needs. And that's what we're talking about. Jennifer, did you find it on there?
I did. I just wanted to make sure I was sharing it. Here I
All
am.
right. Awesome. So, and maybe hopefully we'll have a few more ladies join in. But if not, hey, we've got it. We've got the
We,
show. So, but we're just going to talk to you about some stories of hope and resilient, because your body was designed to heal. It is resilient, and I love it. And Jennifer, you and I have both um got to see what our body could actually do just by saying yes to some great nutrition. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. We're going to be talking about stories of hope. And I need to update this as um, Jenny's slide. I know Jenny said she couldn't be on, but she's here watching, because we have so many people that they've literally transformed their health. They've taken their health back. She's beautiful. You see her in the red. We got to actually go on a cruise with her. We've got to see her in Florida. We've seen her on several different places. And so we just have story after story. Then we have honesty. She had PCOS. She had issues, 20 years in the making. And guys, when you know that struggle and you struggle with pregnancy, things like that, it takes a toll on you, mind, body, spirit, and soul. So we're going to be talking about some of that this evening too. And real quick, I'm going to share this slide because this is one of my favorite slides. Jennifer, can you see this slide here?
I can, yes.
Okay, so we're talking about lifespan versus health span, your health versus your disease state. And guys, this is what I struggle with, and I think a lot of people do struggle with, is we go along and we're leading this life, and there comes Miss Molly, and all of a sudden we get hit by, hello Molly, we get kind of hit by this Mack truck, and our body just starts to break down. But what we haven't realized, hey Corrine, welcome in. What we haven't
Hello.
Hello. What we haven't realized is our body has been speaking to us for years to come. Many times 10, 15, even 20 years. So what we're finding is we have people, our children, our family members, younger and younger, experiencing their health span being shortened and their lifespan extending. And that is not a place that we necessarily want to be. And as you look at this chart, they even say the ideal outcome is, say you live 90 years and you have 10 years of sickness and disease. I don't even want to do that. I just want to live long and die short. Um, right now, they're saying 50 years and 55 years, you got 30 years of sickness and disease, or even, I think that's probably even younger, because the stats are for every 10 years most people are on at least one medication for every 10 years. That's a little alarming to me. And So yeah, so I want to dive into, we're going to ask you what you're creating. What are you creating? But I want to dive into some introductions. And I'm Andrea Martin. I'm a functional nutrition counselor, an integrative metabolic health coach, and just I help people to live well. I help people look at the body, get to the root cause of what's going on. I use a number of different tools in my practice. So I'm here as just somebody that's locked arms with these beautiful ladies, and we're on a mission because we have found a food first approach that allows us to take what we were drinking, because we're going to be drinking all day long anyway, and it's allowed us to tweak that, and it helps give our body exactly what it needs, which it's an unbelievable thing. And absolutely love it. So Jennifer, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Let me get it out here. Introduce yourself. Tell a little about yourself, where you're from, and maybe one hobby that you love to do before we actually dive into your story, if you have a little bit of time.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I am Jennifer. I am from South Florida. I am 51. I am a full-time caregiver for both of my parents with cognitive decline. I also have a father who is pre-diabetic with with the cognitive decline. There are some preventative-ish things we're using because he's on some Alzheimer's meds. Mom is legally blind. Like Andrea said, thank you for having me. I am on a mission to educate others so they don't have to suffer the way that I did. And as for a hobby, well, I don't have a whole lot of time for that these days. I do enjoy going to the beach, being anywhere by water. And I'm a big fan of turtles.
Oh, I love turtles. We have a lot of turtles down here on this lake where we live.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband has been out fishing, and they will just ramp up or pile up on the logs that are in the water.
Uh-huh.
Somebody told my son-in-law the other day that they have seen an alligator down here and they're not supposed to be in this area. And I'm like, oh, crap. We like to swim in the lake, so we'll see. I don't know. But I've heard they like to eat turtles. That's what my husband was telling me. I'm like, no, that's not good, because we have a lot of them. So sorry, that was a squirrel. All right, Miss Corrine, would you like to introduce yourself? Thank you, Jennifer, for being here.
Absolutely.
Hello, I am Corrine McCune. I'm a retired RN. Worked for the VA hospital for over 35 years and love my vets. Love my vets. And so I am a type 1 diabetic. I'm the latent type 1 diabetic. I was treated for type 2 for 2 decades, and now I'm a type 1, they're saying. I'm have antibodies. So that's what I'm dealing with. I've been kind of a puzzle for my doctor for a while. I live in mid-Missouri area. And let's see, my hobbies, I put quilt tops together and I like to sew different stuff, pot holders and stuff like that. And my husband and I kind of are in a group with a drag racing group, and I'm getting ready to go to the drag races down in Dallas, Texas this weekend. So yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about me.
I love that. That's
It's so
awesome.
fun.
Drag racing. Who would have ever thought Miss Corrine likes to go to drag races? We used to go to the IndyCar races and set up on top of the camper and walk the track with the strollers and all that fun stuff. So yeah,
Yep.
fun stuff. Well, so
Yep.
glad you're here, and your type 1 diabetic story and just the journey you've been on. It's pretty impressive, and I just want to commend you for sticking with it and really pushing through, because we get to see you change, and I know it's not easy.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, but yeah, this natural protocol has definitely helped me. There's no way that I don't know where I would be if I didn't have it. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Well, we're going to hear your story in a minute. So thank you for sharing that. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss these. You don't want to miss these women's transformations because you know what? We are all more alike than we are different. And I know many of us on here believe that this was an answer to our prayers, and God is no respecter of persons. You know, He says if He'll do it for one, He'll do it for another. So, and I truly believe that our body was created to heal. So stay tuned. You're going to hear some nuggets and wisdom from these ladies of what they've done. Okay, Miss Vicky, you want to go next and share with us
Hello.
who you
I'm
are, where you're coming in from,
I am from Pasadena, Maryland, and I didn't hear the first part of that question.
just who you are, where you're
Oh,
coming in from, and maybe a hobby that you have, something like that.
yep. I'm Vicky Chadwell, and hobbies. My grandchildren are my hobby. I spend as much time with them as I possibly can. So if I can get to them, I'm going to.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so you're coming in from Maryland, and grandkids are her hobby. And Vicky's another type 1 diabetic. So you're going to
Yeah.
hear her story too. So, guys, we have two on here this evening. And I know I have dear friends that are type 1s, and eh, it can be tricky to navigate. So I love your all stories. And I remember crying with you several times, Vicky, of, oh my goodness, things just changing. And we were talking at the same time, and can't wait for you guys to hear that. So good stuff is in the house tonight. Yay. Okay. Miss Molly, will you share who you are, where you live, and just do you have a hobby that you love to do?
Oh, I'm Molly Broad, and I love to be on a boat. I love water. I love to be on it more than in it, but maybe one of these days I'll scuba dive. So, yeah.
Hmm. I love that. She loves to be on a boat. Yeah, we got to get all of our team down here so we can. I have a raft that's like 15 after I was just telling Jennifer about there may be an alligator on here, but I have a float, a raft that's like 15 feet long. It's supposed to hold over 1,000 pounds. I think we've had like 8 people on it so far. So we could all get out there and just sunbathe and just have a blast because that's what our team loves to do is have fun together, right? So yeah, we could do that. Well, thank you, Molly, for being on. And I love the water too. So what we're gonna do, let me see if I can pull this screen back up and just kind of, we want to dive into some of these stories because I want you to see these people's transformations and let's see if it's gonna work. Please let me, no, there it is. Okay. We're going to start. Jennifer, do you want to go first? Well, hold on. Let me get over this slide first, guys. This is what we do a lot of times. And this is what I was doing, even as somebody in the health and wellness space. I thought I was doing everything right. I was making my smoothies. I was eating my um eating my fruits and veggies, making my smoothies, even making my own fruit juice. I love green apple. And guys, if you have not tried this green apple matcha, oh my gosh, I love it. It's yummy. I have one every day. And yeah, it's delicious. It's full of great nutrition, phytonutrients, polyphenols, all that good stuff. So we can get you the link if you want that. But I was spiking my blood sugar all day long and I didn't realize it because I was removing the fiber out of a lot of my foods. And when you do that, that causes a situation called insulin resistance. And you can see on this slide, you can see a number of these different signs that you might have insulin resistance. So if you look at this number, these numbers, just go down and just count. How many do you have? Frequent hunger, craving carbs. Those were both me. Belly fat, right there, I have 3. High cholesterol, I had that. High blood pressure, I did not have that. Fatty liver, did not have that. PCOS, I did have that. Skin tags, had skin tag, top of my eye. High blood sugar, didn't have that. Dark skin folds, inflammation, I definitely had that. Sleep apnea, didn't have that, but the brain fog, yep. The acne, not so much. Hair loss, yes. Erectile dysfunction, I don't think any of us on here had that, but we might know somebody that did. Um, Low energy, absolutely. IBS, didn't have that. Prediabetes, didn't have that. But I had a number of the other different symptoms, hot flashes, hormone issues, thyroid issues, autoimmune issues, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and adrenal failure that I had battled and thought I had overcome, but those things were starting to rear their ugly head back up again in my late 50s. And that was a scary place because I was 40 pounds heavier than what I was just a few years before. Welcome hormones and the hormone chaos that takes root in our body. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about getting to the root cause of what's going on. We don't want to just put a Band-Aid on it. We want to fix the root. We want to fix the problem. So you're going to get to hear some of the stories from people that have done that tonight. And so I'm going to find Jennifer's slide, and then we will go back into the protocol once we're done. Jennifer, there you are, my sweet friend. Would you like to share first all about your story, all about what you have experienced and how you found this protocol and why you said yes?
Sure. Well, and I love the caption you have under there, anxiety and weight, because that is me to a T. I was dealing with high cholesterol. I was menopausal, and we're talking hot flashes. I had the spare tire. As you can see in my photo, I call myself the bowling ball head because I was so inflamed in my face, in my body, in my arms. And as you can see, my arms are no longer that way. You know, I dealt with insomnia for years. And, you know, on this journey, which I am coming up on a year in June, I have noticed, and I've looked back over the course of my life, you know, I had high cholesterol in my 20s. I was dealing with insomnia since I was a young child. You know, I couldn't turn the brain off. I couldn't relax to go to sleep. The anxiety, the depression, you know, all those things that were just compounding themselves. And, you know, I would go to professionals and there's a pill for this and there's a Tic Tac for that. And, you know, I didn't want to go my whole life with having to go to be a frequent flyer, is what I call it, a frequent flyer to
Yeah.
the CVS or another pharmacy. And, you know, it did take me 6 months to, I'm going to say, be brave enough to want to change me. For me, it was a very scary thing to look inward. And, you know, I would look in the mirror. As you look in my photo, you know, I'm smiling. Well, I'm smiling because I'm with my daughter. She's on the other half of that photo that you don't see. But did I feel good in my skin? Absolutely not. You know, I was too embarrassed to go to the beach. I didn't want to put on a bathing suit. You know, I didn't want people to see me. But of course, I'm in public and I'm going places. And, you know, it took me 6 months to go ahead and say yes. And when I was told it's in the PDR.net, otherwise known as the Physician's Desk Reference, I could look in there. I could feel confident. There was a 90-day money-back guarantee. You know, I mean, I was dealing with a lot of those things you had on that list, you know, skin tags. You know, I had ovarian cysts in my 30s. So it's, you know, going back, saying is me. You know, and when you hit, now I understand some people still have their cycles. I do not. But during that phase of life, it almost seemed like I blinked. I woke up one morning and I had 30 pounds on me. You know, the inflammation was so bad. So over this journey of almost a year, and I'm so proud of myself because it's been so simple to follow sipping a tea, literally sipping a tea. It blows my mind, even when we talk about this all the time, every day. I literally sip a tea. It burns my belly fat. It boosts my natural GLP-1. I don't need any medications anymore. And my personal side effects, since my goal was to get off my high cholesterol meds and my insomnia meds, I'm down 37 pounds of inflammation and weight. I have the body I had when I was
Wow.
in high school. I am 51 years old. So I know it. My
I just
daughter and
want
I
to
were
be
talking
hearting
about it
you
this
all over the
morning, and I'm
place.
like, who is this?
That's awesome. That is wonderful. How exciting is that? How
Very
exciting. So
exciting.
you could go back to your class reunion and say, woohoo, and people would think, oh my gosh, that's the same girl that went to school here and she's not changed. That's amazing.
Yes, and I've actually had some high school friends look at me and go, "You haven't changed a bit." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Little do you know."
Yeah. Show them those before and after pictures. Yeah, we keep those on our phone. Ah, well, congratulations. We just want to celebrate you tonight because that is pretty amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Well, thank you for being here and sharing your story and just inspiring all of us. What would you leave somebody with if they were in a situation like you were? What would you say to that woman that's not sure what to do? She feels like she has the bowling ball head, like you said. She feels like she doesn't want to go to the beach. What would your encouragement be to her tonight, Jennifer?
For one, you are not alone. You absolutely are not alone. The community that I am a part of, with this is just a handful of ladies. I am a part of this humongous community of women that empower each other. We encourage each other. You don't have to feel alone, and you don't have to hide anymore. If you're like me, reach out to myself, to any of these lovely ladies on here. We'd love to share exactly if a story resonates with you. Reach out and know you're not alone. And I think that really is the biggest thing for me. My friend Susan reached out to me and wanted to encourage me just to try something new. Because
Mm.
like many of us, I tried everything. you know, I tried the counting carbs, I tried the eating less, moving more, I tried Slim Fast. Everything I tried, I felt like I failed. And this is the one thing that I have not failed.
Mm. Wow.
And that
How long
that
have
for
you
me
been
is
on it?
empowering to me.
Yeah, absolutely. How long have you been on the protocol?
It will be a year, June 7th.
Mhm. That's exciting. So you have been able to maintain this
Absolutely.
and yeah, and it's not failed you and you've not failed it. And I'm sure you've probably not been perfect on it, just like most of us are not,
Oh, no.
but it still
Absolutely
worked. It's so
not.
easy, isn't it?
Yeah, and the nice thing is I can be imperfect and still be okay with me, knowing that this is food and it's helping me, even if I'm having one of those days, like I don't know, yesterday,
Yeah,
when
yesterday,
I
who can say
decided
we weren't perfect yesterday?
I needed a few hands of jelly beans. Okay, I just
Mhm.
needed it. I don't know why, but my mouth wanted to taste them, and so I did.
Good
And
for
I'm
you.
still going strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not about being perfect, is it?
No,
Us and
no,
all
it's
of our
not.
imperfections, anybody's welcome. If we can do this, you can do it. So it's not. Thank you so much for sharing, Jennifer. That's
Thanks.
just, it's so encouraging.
Thank you very much for having me.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Okay, Miss Vicky. Hey, Benita. Miss Vicky, we're going to head towards you since you're next up on the screen. We have your picture up there. Would
Okay,
you go ahead and share your story with us?
sure. So I was more quickly than I cared to, approaching 60. And I've been diabetic for 36 years now. And when I started the program or the protocol, I was really concerned with, was I going to be around long enough to see my grandchildren graduate high school? That was a thought of mine. Will I live that long? And I came across this protocol. My cousin introduced me to it, and it literally changed my life within the first week. And I wanted to lose weight, but that really wasn't my goal once I heard what it could do for me. And so I focused on my health first. And everything else just kind of fell into place. So within the first week, I'm an insulin dependent diabetic. I wear an insulin pump. And within the first week of starting the protocol, I was able to drop my daily insulin by 62%. And within a month, I was able to drop it 79%. And I've held steady at that. So since the first month of being on the protocol, I've stayed with a 79% drop in my daily insulin. And so when I started the protocol, I was on 55 to 65 units a day. Now I take between 12 and 18 units usually. That's not to say if I have a high carb meal or something that I don't have to use a little bit more, but I've realized and learned the proper way to eat and make my body feel as good as I can. And then that was never a focus before because no matter what I ate, my blood sugar was out of control and never really got into control. And so I didn't realize the impact that my food choices were truly making on me. My doctor just said, here's your sliding scale. Here, put this, put your number of carbs in your insulin pump and it'll give you what you need. And it did, but quite honestly, it could never quite keep up. Like my blood sugar always ran high, always. It was nothing for me to wake up with between 170 and 250 blood sugar, a fasting blood sugar of that high. And it was nothing for me to get to 300 or 350 2 hours after a meal. And so my body, adjusted to that. And that's a horrible thing because when your blood sugar runs that high, it's affecting all of your organs. But I did that for years. And in this last year, since I've been diagnosed, I've never had blood sugar in such good control. When I started December before I started the protocol, my A1C was 7.1. And that was after doing some dieting on my own. So that was pretty darn good for me. My doctor was really happy with that. And I was too, because, when you go to the doctor, you hear you're striving for 7. If you can get your A1C to a 7, you're in good shape. So I'm like, oh, I'm almost there, right? So when I heard about this protocol and what it was doing for people, I'm like, well, surely that's not going to really work for me because I'm type 1, but lo and behold, it did. And so I started the protocol in February of 25. And in July of 25, I went and had my blood work done. My A1C had dropped down to 5.9, which was pre-diabetic measurement, which I was like beside myself, absolutely beside myself. I couldn't even contain it. I couldn't hold my tears in. I was a hot mess over that because I never imagined that it could be that good. And then I just went to the doctor last month in March, and now my A1C is down to 5.7. So that period that I tested that was included in my A1C included the holidays. And so even with the holidays, my A1C improved. And who would think that, right? But the fact that this tea it does exactly what we say it will do. It helps you to stabilize your blood sugar. And it increases that GLP-1 so that your food is digested more slowly and helps with the food noise. I don't crave the things that I used to crave all the time. And I do mean all the time. I'd no more get the last bite in my mouth and I'd be thinking, well, when can I have something else and what else can I have? It was constant. I never stopped thinking about food. If I was awake, I was thinking about food. Because for me, the more I was told not to have something, the more I wanted it.
Yeah.
And this protocol has given me such food freedom. Like I don't think like that anymore because nothing's off limits. I can have whatever I want. If I want to eat a piece of cake, which I did yesterday, I can have it. It's all about the way we eat our food and the times that we eat our food. And having that freedom and that ability to know that if I really want something, I can have it
Mm.
It's been life changing for me. And when I went to the doctor and she 5.7 and she's like, that this is related to the time restricted eating that you're doing. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me about that 30 years ago? Like, I just don't understand why no one ever said anything to me. Why did no doctor ever say to me, if you do nothing else, just do time restricted eating? Nobody ever mentioned that. Nobody
Mm.
ever talked to me about the importance of fiber or food order. And the fact that if you take in fiber, the proper amounts of fiber, and you eat that first in your meal, that can help, blunt your blood sugar rise. It can slow your blood sugar rise. Like, why are diabetics not taught that? That should be like one of the first things we're taught in my mind. And I've been to nutritionists. I've been through diabetic education. I've had 3 different endocrinologists over these years, and not one of those individuals ever mentioned any of that to me. And it just blows my mind that if they know about it, and I don't even know if they know about it, but if they do know about it, why is nobody sharing it? And if they don't know about it, why don't they know about it? I'm off my soapbox now.
No, and you're so right, because what we don't know can destroy us. And
And it
literally,
was destroying me. Yes.
yes, it was destroying you. And it's like, okay, how do we? That's why we're on here, guys. That is why Vicky just shared her story. That's why Jennifer just shared her story. That's why we're on here, to hopefully give you some insights of our
Somebody will
struggles.
hear,
Yes.
somebody will just hear a tidbit and say, oh, I'm like that. Like, all of us are very different, but we're all very much alike too. Like, our stories we have different conditions, we have different things going on, but there's always something that we all kind of, at some point, we're all linked somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Vicky, thank you so much for sharing that. Because
Cheers.
to me, that just gives cheers. Yes, our battles. It just gives people hope. If you want hope as a type 1, and you're going to hear Corrine too, and it's been a journey. I mean, you've had to ask the questions, and that's what we want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to be like that 3-year-old that says why. Keep asking that question of why, because, and if you don't get the answers, I don't know, find somebody else that does. Get in chat, ask chat. Chat has a lot of answers for you, or at least chat. Tell me what questions I need to ask about this. What do I need to know that I might be missing out on? Do your Google searches. Start asking those questions. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited for you. So what would you say to that woman that's on the screen that's watching, that's the type 1? What would you say to her?
Pretty much just circle back to what you just said. I'm not saying don't trust your doctors, because I truly believe doctors get into medicine to help us. I truly believe that. I don't have any doubt in my mind about that. But they only know what they've been taught. And you have to understand that the people that are paying for their training are the pharmaceutical companies. So of course they want us to use their medications. Doctors are taught how to medicate symptoms, not necessarily cure the issue. And so, like Andrea said, you've got to take responsibility for your health yourself. You can't just rely on what your doctor tells you. Do your own research, read your own books, listen to your own book. Just be your own advocate, because if you're not your own advocate, or you don't have a family member that can do that for you, you will be stuck in the system. Because as much as it pains me to say this, medicine is a system, it's a business, and they're in it to make money. So, they're never going to find cures for certain things, regardless of whether they may already have the cure. They're never going to share the cure for everything, because then they're going to be out of business. So just keep that in mind. Medicine is a business.
Unfortunately, and it's becoming more and more of that. So Vicky, this is you in the middle, guys. This is Vicky, and you can see her
It
on
is.
the right in this burgundy shirt. And then you can see her on the white. So Vicky, how much, and this is not about a weight loss protocol, but your
It's not.
body comes into alignment and your body does what it does best and it heals. So how much
Yeah.
weight did you lose in this process too? And inflammation?
So at that point, I was at about 45 pounds. I've now lost 60 pounds. And I love that picture of me in the red shirt because I have my hands in my shirt because I thought if I stretched my shirt out, I would hide my belly, but I didn't think
Mhm.
about my arms and my legs. So, you know, and honestly, I'm not ashamed of the person that I was then. I was doing the best that I could, the very best that I could do at that moment. But I've learned better and I've learned more and I can't unsee what I've learned. And I'm just going to keep sharing what I've learned. And that person was as good as she could be. And I'm proud of her because she could have been, she could have been a lot worse and she could have been a lot more unhealthy. And I'm so blessed that I've had this condition for so long and I don't have any of the horrible, horrible things that can happen because of it. So God was watching out for me. You know, there was a time in my life where I really wanted to be in the medical field and I just didn't have the opportunity to do that. And now that I've been shown this and this is like turned into my purpose in my life, I'm retiring from my career in just a few weeks and this is what I'm going to be doing with myself. And I know that this was, you know, it took 61 years, but I know that this was God's plan for me to put me in this space because this is what he believes in and he believes that I can make a difference. And so I'm here for it. I'm here for him to use me and allow me to help people. And hopefully I can catch people that are younger and they won't have to go through years and years and maybe cause damage to their bodies.
Wow, Vicky. I feel like you have just, man, I don't even know what to, there's so many nuggets. You loved who she was.
Yep.
Ladies, love who you are. You are
Yep.
valuable. When you look in that mirror, you tell yourself, I love you unconditionally. We have a hard time doing that sometimes. And I'm giving you permission right now to love who you are exactly where you're at because you are valuable. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. And we all have things that we struggle with, but love where you're at. And if you're hearing this, you're here on purpose. You needed to hear Vicky's message. You needed to hear the transformation that she's made and Jennifer's made and these other ladies that are going to come on and share. And the hope that's been restored and the knowing, Vicky, you said so much and you've been able to learn what you didn't know before, just that understanding, that wisdom, that knowledge, and you now get to pass that on to save somebody, hopefully from going through the heartache that you went through.
Yep.
And guys, she's retiring into this. She doesn't want to retire to do, she's retiring into this to serve at a greater capacity. And I know her and Corrine both, and guys, that everybody here has a link. So if you know them, get with them. Just say, send me your link, or let's get on a quick 15-minute, 20-minute call. I need to know what you're talking about. I need to have a deeper understanding in this because you're hearing a lot tonight. You're hearing a lot of personal heartaches, but also wins and just victories of overcoming and resilience. And I know Corrine and Vicky both. I've put them in chats with other type 1 diabetics because I've not been there. So I don't understand that burden that they carry and the lifestyle and the questions that they might even ask, but they do. And they so willingly serve and give. And I'm so thankful for both of you. So thank you both for that because I have a dear friend that I've had for, gosh, probably 30 years, served in ministry with at their church. And she's on this protocol now because of you two, because you guys talked her through as a type 1. And I got messages yesterday. Hey, I'm loving it. In fact, we're supposed to meet at
Awesome.
some point this week. So yeah, and we just don't know the lives that we're changing. So thank you.
Of
Thank you for
course.
sharing. Yeah. Okay, Miss Corrine, do you want to go next as our other type 1 diabetic and woman who's also on a mission? So share with us your story. Let
Well,
me
first of
see.
all,
Do I
I'm not sure
have?
if I could follow what Vicky just said. That's hard to follow. She did wonderful.
And I don't think I
But
have you on here. Let me see. Let me see if I can find the picture.
I don't have, I have one that's, I don't think I have a collage with before and,
After?
after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, I'll just kind of go add on to what Vicky's testimony, because I felt the same way. I had tried so many different things. I had done the keto diet. I did the calorie diet. I did the grapefruit diet. I did, the cabbage soup diet. It's just, I always was overweight. Even in high school, I was a size 18, and it just kind of got worse as I had kids, and then I became a diabetic in my 40s, and now I'm 62, and I just was struggling with my insulin, my glucose, even though I was like right at 7.0, which my doctor was happy with, but I wasn't. And so I had a lot of the signs that we talked about on your list of insulin resistance, but nobody, doctor wise or endocrine wise, never said, well, that ring on your neck. I had the darkened skin around my neck. Never said a word to me about it being insulin resistant. I had that for at least 6 years, if not more, and even asked the doctor, and he just kind of said, well, that's just kind of old skin. I'm like age spots. I'm like, really? So anyway, I was covering them up with foundation. What else do you do?
Yeah.
So
Really?
anyway,
What else do you do?
I heard about the protocol through George, and everybody knows George, and I was very skeptical because I thought, oh gosh, there's something else to deal with my diabetes, and I was already on a insulin pump and everything, and so he said, just try it. So he convinced me to try it. And so I had my calendar marked at the 88 days to call to say it's not working. And I have to say, I kind of, my body is very delayed in it wasn't as fast as Vicky. So I have to say it's 6 weeks the first time that I saw a change in the scale, weight wise, but I had looser fitting clothes. At 3 weeks, I could tell I had no more joint pain in my knees. Like I had trouble getting up out of a chair sometimes that hurt my knees. And that went away. And I was also having very severe muscle cramps at night, waking me up. I have to walk, and a lot of the cramps were in my thighs, and not my calves, my thighs. And I was just walking in the living room at 2-3 o'clock in the morning with these cramps. And at one point, I'll be honest, it was so painful. I was crying, and I was like, well, this is my life. I'm going to be probably in a nursing home, not able to get out of bed in 10 years and have this pain, and nobody's going to help me get up and walk, So, but those cramps, after 3 weeks, they've been gone, and they have been gone ever since. I have, let's see, I've been actually this Saturday, I will be on this protocol for a year. So I've only lost 23 pounds, but I feel better. My energy's better. My A1C is down to 6.4 from 7.3. And my triglycerides went down 100 points when I got my labs drawn again. So my score went from like 4.25 to 2.12 or something like that. So I'm still have insulin resistance. I'm still fighting it. I've had this for decades. So I'm pretty sure if anybody's read Dr. Bickman's book about why we are sick, I'm pretty sure I have the brown fat. It's harder to get rid of, and I think that's what's happening. That's what I'm thinking. So that's where we're at.
I found a
But-
picture of you, Corrine, and look at that. You've got some.
Yeah, my pants are, I'm down to like a size almost a 14. It just, yeah. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
smaller than I was in high school. If the, sizes were
Wow.
the same. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I do feel a lot better. And let's see, my insulin requirement has probably went down 30%.
Mm,
So it's not significant like Vicky's was. I hope and pray that I get to where Vicky's at. So she's kind of like my inspiration. So,
mhm.
but yeah, so that's where I'm at, but my control, I can tell my blood sugar is under control with my readings on my pump, and I feel so much better. I feel so much better. So
Mm.
even my grandson told me the other day, he's like, well, I had to help you get off the floor before, and I don't have to need help to get up off the floor because he plays hockey. We play floor hockey in the living room. And so, yeah, so I can get up on my own off the floor now. Before I had to scoot over to a couch and he had to help me up because of my joint pain. So I'm very blessed. I'm glad I got started on this. And I feel like, yes, it was God that got me started on this protocol. So I'm very happy with it.
I love that. And your grandson is seeing a difference. He's seeing his mama or whatever you call yourself, grandma,
Nana.
Nana, he's seeing you get to age better than where you were headed.
Yep.
We don't know. Thank God we don't
Yeah.
know,
That's right. That's right.
And your body keeps healing layer upon layer upon layer, So
Yep.
that's amazing. And I am so excited for you. So what would you share with the lady who's watching, who's where you were? I'm sure you had to be skeptical, just like Vicky, and just say, all right, well, we know Vicky's story because she was like, no, you're crazy. This can't work. But,
Yeah.
because there's so much out there. What would you say?
I would tell them that it is backed by research. It's in the physician's desk reference as a medical person. I think that's significant right there.
Mhm.
And you have a 90-day money back guarantee. So, okay, try it. And if at 90 days it's not doing anything for you, call and get your money back. But what are you out? So that's what I think. I mean, and the one thing that I do have to say is a positive in this whole is our community. You ladies make a very comfortable and safe area to talk about things and ask each other. And so I appreciate that. And I think that is very much a plus because whoever starts the protocol has support.
Mm. That's
So,
beautiful.
yeah. So anyway, so I thank you ladies for listening to me and helping me through everything. So,
Well, we're so proud of you because it's not easy making a change, and especially when you've got the drastic ups and downs that especially a type 1 can have. And, taking that option and saying, okay, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to listen to my body and I'm going to support it. I'm going to give it maybe what it's never had before and just see what the body will do. And that's just beautiful. So thank you so much for being on here, for sharing, and for also sharing with my friends that I have connected you with too. You and Vicky both, just God sense to our community and mission driven. Guys, these ladies are so heart driven. I just can't tell you how much. And we love you being in this community, and we're so thankful for that.
Yeah.
So thankful. I don't know where I would be without them. And guys, We
Thank
get to
you.
talk to each other daily, pretty much. So if you're needing community, just get with the person and say, hey, I need to know about this community. So yeah. Okay, Benita, your picture's up next. So we're gonna let you go, my friend, and Miss Molly will get to you. So
Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful to be here. I'm going to run off and take a kid to cheer. I'm a mom of 4, so I definitely have seen my fair share of growth and slimming and growth and slimming and growth. I think the highest I ever hit was like a 190, and I was a gestational diabetic. And, it was hard because all of my kids, 7.5 pounds, 8.5 pounds, 9.5 pounds, over 10.5 pounds.
Mm.
For my kids, right? So I always had in the back of my mind, like a nurse, that, if you're a gestational diabetic, you're going to become a type 2 diabetic. And I grew up in a family where all of my aunts and uncles were dealing with chronic diseases. And I didn't realize how much my ecosystem, my environment, had an impact on my DNA. And so my story and journey is a little bit different, but I found Dr. Kenny after 3 years of going to my doctor, frustrated with weight gain. I was having like really tired spells in the afternoon, and I literally felt like the brain fog was pregnancy brain fog. So I kept going to my doctor and I was like, I'm classic symptoms for being pregnant. Can you give me that glucola test? Because my labs look great. And she was like, yeah, you're nowhere close to being even pre-diabetic. So I was like, give me that glucola test. And she was like, okay, like if you're willing to sit for it. So I went in, I drank that terrible orange liqueur nastiness that they give you as a pregnant woman. And then I did a blood draw to see what my blood sugars were. And sure enough, I failed. I failed the test. But because I wasn't pregnant, then just because I failed the test meant that I was an outlier. So there was no standard of practice that my doctor could start working through to help me.
Mm.
And it was like one of those moments where she was like, diet and exercise. And it turned that light on that I was like, oh my gosh, like me and Chat GPT are going to become like medical experts on my condition because I don't know what's wrong. And I did a deep dive. I thought I was leptin resistant. And I went to Dr. Kenny because he was talking about stuff. And I was like, I'm leptin resistant. I was like, oh my gosh, I've discovered it. He was like, no, you're not. He was like, just be quiet. Like, here's my tea. Sip my tea, heal your gut, and then we'll talk. And so within the first 3 months, like I would say like within the first week, I remember going to Chico's and being like, I need new clothes already. And the women were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know, but it's amazing. I drink this tea and like things are coming off of me. And it was the best transition I've ever had because it was so easy. The brain fog cleared, the energy came back. I had all this vitality. I remember talking to Anne Marie once and she was like, oh my gosh, I love when people first start the protocol because they come in like as if they hadn't seen color television before in their life. And all of a sudden the color is on and they're like, where was this world before I was doing this protocol? And so I just started learning more and sharing. And now I'm just so blessed to be not only in this community, but working directly with, our partners in corporate who can help us do what we're doing and be brave enough to come on screen, even if my hair's not perfect and my makeup's not done and I don't have the right filter, but still to feel that somebody needs to hear my story. And part of my story, I dealt with a parasitic infection last year. And I'm really struggling sharing that because it was awful. So there's times where I share my story and then there's times where I run from my story. And it's just because it's not common in our society. And as a nurse, I'm so thankful I knew what was happening to my body and why I was becoming insulin resistant related to a parasitic infection. But now to have a tool that actually helps people heal their gut and correct what was happening at the cellular level after the infection is like just run amok, is really, really powerful. And more people need to be able to hear our testimonies because when you come through the fire and you're on the other side, I just want to reach back and pull the next person out.
Mm. Wow. That's powerful. On so many levels. Thank you for sharing.
No, thank you for
And
having me. You're doing such a great job. I love this.
well, absolutely. Well, I love it because you hit on a couple things. As somebody who was had gestational diabetes too with my third pregnancy, over an 8-pound baby, and then you're high risk, and it's like she's 8 pounds, 3 ounces, and 18 inches long. You talk about this chubby baby, and we're learning so much about that now. And I had no idea that that was a sign in my 30s that I was developing insulin resistance, or what did have insulin resistance, the PCOS, thyroid issues, the hormone issues, the ovarian cyst. Nobody connected all those dots. And if we would have connected those dots, a lot of heartache, just like you, a lot of pain and suffering could have been avoided, but we didn't know what we didn't know. Now we know. That's why we're
Now
in
we
here.
know.
That's why Benita's sharing.
Yeah.
When you fix the gut, and Benita, one of the things I do is digital body scanning, and you would not believe how many times parasites come up.
Yeah.
It's a gut thing. I
so
see
sick.
it several times a week, and it's wild. And if we can just fix that gut, things change.
Yep,
Yes.
dysbiosis. I love the way Dieter explains it. Dr. Dieter explains it so well. And if anyone's interested, like, we have all of the information just to dig into from doctors. Like, this is doctor recommended, like double board certified doctors, pediatricians, endocrinologists, like the whole gambit.
Neurosurgeons,
Yeah.
ophthalmologists, you name it,
You name it,
cardiologists.
right? And it's so easy that it makes it successful, right? And it's not complicated. And a lot of times when I have women come to me and they're like, well, I'm not successful on it, I have to stop and ask, explain your day to me. And the majority of the time they're struggling to get into teas because maybe they're afraid because they're like, it makes me pee a lot. And I'm like, that's normal. Like, your body's trying to get rid of inflammation and sugar. Like, you have to go through that. Or I can't drink the fiber because it's difficult for me. It makes my stomach upset. And I'm like, that's normal. Like, you have to go through that to change your gut. And when we can get through the fire, it's so much better. Like I said, it's like the Wizard of Oz. It was all black and white. You get through the fire, and then everything's in color, and all your energy is back. It's a beautiful thing.
I love that. And, and when somebody's going through that, having us to help them through that. That's why we're there as this community,
Yeah.
and we can say, hey, maybe you need to start slow, start with a half a packet, let's not do the whole thing at first. Let's ramp up that gut. Let's feed those good little gut bacteria so that we can support them. So there's things that we can do, guys. So if you are on this protocol and you're listening and you feel like you're stuck, reach out to the person that brought you on, because we don't want you to stay stuck, because we know it works.
No.
We know that it works beyond a shadow of a doubt. We just might need to tweak it. And we can do that because it's food.
Right.
Andrea, can I
Yes.
say one thing?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
this afternoon I was looking on one of the team websites, that's our team Facebook pages, and somebody said they were going to stop using it because their blood sugar they were a diabetic and their blood sugars were going lower. And I'm like, honey, that's the whole reason you want to be on this. Like, it's so hard because, I went through the same thing. Luckily, I knew enough to adjust my insulin. I knew how to do that. But for anybody that might be considering it, or that may have already started it, maybe that person's watching right now. I don't know. But if that happens, reach out to your doctor. Your medicine can be adjusted, and that's the goal. We want to, or I would hope that would be your goal, to be able to lower your medicine dosages, whether it be your blood pressure, your blood pressure, your insulin, whatever medication you're on. If you notice changes, reach out to your medical professional and work with them on it, because trust me, they'll be happy to be seeing you improve, because that's an improvement. That's not a problem.
Not at all. And you guys see my picture of my husband there too. And he lost over 55 pounds, but within 90 days, he dropped his triglycerides 90 points. He's off of his CPAP machine. He's off of his testosterone injections, his gabapentin. But the biggest benefit, you guys, I have to say, I personally see the biggest benefit, no more allergy medications. Like this is one of those chronic allergy situations where he had post-nasal drip. If I took him to an I Love Flowers and Gardens, if I wanted to go walk around a flowery garden, like he would be miserable. And then I would feel bad because then he would, just be at a commission for the next day or two on Benadryl. And he hasn't had that kind of reaction. So his immune system is recovering.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And you know what? As you're talking about medication and people needing less medication, getting off of it, and that's what we've also seen with people who have even had like the bariatric surgery or done the GLP-1s. This is a great transition to be able to support your body nutritionally because it's a nutraceutical, so that means it's food. I love to say it's a food first approach. I'm going to be drinking something anyway all day long. So why not drink something that's fueling my body versus tanking my body, And so that makes it easy. So no matter, there's no contraindication. That means it's not going to react with any medication at all. It's proven to not do that. I've heard that we're now up to over 50 studies. The Cleveland Clinic, leading heart hospital, knows this medication could lower the risk for statin medication, the need for that. We've seen it. Benita's husband, my husband, widowmaker heart attack survivor, plus or triglycerides dropped 51 points in 3 weeks and his HDL went up. We had no expectation of any of that. We didn't even know what to expect. We just knew we were desperate.
Yeah, my husband did this protocol with me to support me, you guys. Like if you look at that first picture with me and my husband, that's us in the fall together. I'm struggling and I'm like looking for solutions. He's like, well, my kidney function isn't the greatest. My doctor keeps wanting to push a statin. But when he started the protocol and had the transformation, it was almost like what we couldn't see, we could now see. Because when I look back at that photo, we were like the healthier people in our cohort of friends and at church and in our family. And now I realize if I was the healthiest, I just, it blows my mind to think of how close we were to a catastrophic event. And praise the Lord that we didn't have to go through that fire to be able to see and be set free from that sort of just stuck. Like I was stuck in that body that kept gaining weight and I don't have to be there anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, that's something else. So you've got the women on Monday nights. Tuesday night, we have a men's call. So we have a guy that leads the men, and these men get on there, and it's Testosterone Tuesday because they need the support just like we do. So we have this whole big, huge community. So if you have a man that would be interested, because one thing that we know with the testosterone, different things like that, a lot of the men struggle with erectile dysfunction. I can't tell you how many men that has changed, all just because they've added this protocol. We're fixing the gut, we're balancing the hormones, we're helping the liver to detox, and it can be done in such a gentle way. And it just, for me, I couldn't digest protein. I struggled to digest protein for 57 years until I found this protocol. And now you give me a good healthy steak with some fat on it, and I'm like chowing down. I love it.
Oh, I love that for you. Because you need those for peptides, right? Like people don't realize, like when you eat protein, your body breaks it down into amino acids and that makes peptides. Peptides make hormones. Hormones make your life. So
yeah. And we can do that naturally. You and I did a class. We were on a class all about peptides. And guys, your body makes your own. GLP-1, it's a natural hormone. Your body makes it in the gut, but we have this ultra processed foods and it's not your fault. Okay. If you have the cravings and crave the yucky stuff, it's not your fault. It's the food industry. They have taken over. They've synthetically put all these chemicals in it, chemicalized it. I don't know if that's a word, but
They definitely hijacked it to make it more
They did.
marketable.
Yeah, because it's the almighty dollar and
Oh
it's
my God.
food.
And
You
going
even
through an airport today, that was me. Like, I was so thankful that I had my tea because I walked in and there's this beautiful food court. And I just looked around knowing that had I not had the tea just a year ago, I would have been like, oh, that coffee and donut looks really nice. Or maybe a bean burrito. I would pick a healthier thing like the salad, but it would come with a roll or a chocolate dipped strawberry, right? Like, it adds up quickly when
It
you're marketed
does.
to.
It does. So it's not your fault. It's not, we call this willpower in a packet. So if you feel like, hey, I need some willpower, here it is. We can give it to you I was in the grocery store the other day and I was checking out and I looked down and it was said 2 for $5, like 2 Cokes. I thought that would have been me in my 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I would have had a Coke an hour. That was me. And then I wonder why I ended up where I did, 20s and 30s. But 2 for $5. You can have your 2 Cokes, or you can have this that's going to totally transform your life.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Benita, for sharing
Thank
so many
you.
golden nuggets there, and so glad that you're on. And okay, I think we are down to Miss Molly, and I don't have a picture of you, girl. So you're gonna have to come up with a picture, all right? Because I don't have one, and I don't like that. So let me fix this stage. Let me. Oh, I think Benita went off. I'm going to. Well, how do I remove that? Okay, I've got like 3 different platforms up here because I've been adding pictures left and right. So, Miss Molly, will you share with us your story, why you said yes, and what made you decide? Because you've been in the health and wellness space for a good while, and we've always been about eating fruits and vegetables, making sure we're trying to eat right, doing what we need to do. You and I went through the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute together. We went through the Functional Nutrition Alliance coaching course together. We went through a number of different classes together. So what made you say yes to me? I know I was praying about it a whole lot, but what made you decide to say yes to take and guys, we're talking about a protocol, which is 2 teas and a fiber. You take it every day. It's the simplest thing ever. Easy, easy, easy. So what made you say yes?
Well, I have to say, what truly made me say yes, what opened my eyes. And I say it was my husband's blood work. When I saw that he had high triglycerides, probably it was recommended to him to get on cholesterol meds. But I have to say I could even back it up to a year prior. Being in the health and wellness space, being in a community of people and watching others still getting really sick. And then also not feeling also for myself that I could use more. And that's a confusing place to be when, like you said, Andrea, I've been studying nutrition since I was a teenager. So I've been on this journey for a long time. And I started way back then because I watched my mom. So Corinne, you shared earlier, and I think maybe Vicki, you might have too, that I was on every diet, name it, South Beach diet, Atkins diet. Like if there was a diet out there, I was doing it. I was doing it with my parents to support them. So to be in the health and wellness space and to study these things for all these years, and then now you're watching other people still struggling, that was hard. That was hard. I thought, Lord, there's got to be more, because how is it that all these people, so I think knowledge puffs up, right? We know a lot of things. I want to speak to the ladies out there who know a lot and they're not quite in alignment. So you can know a lot, and if we're not doing a lot, if we're not following through with what we know to be true, if you're like me, I knew a lot of things. I wasn't living that out as much as I could. So then there's a lot of beating yourself up, and I'm white knuckling it, intermittent fasting with my husband, but largely on our own, trying to figure this all out. And then he gets his blood work, and he has, I'm starting to see he's already on high blood pressure meds, ladies. He's already, and the thought of him going further down this road of med, ladies, my mom, before she went to be with the Lord, was on 43 medications. She had Parkinson's, trigeminal neuralgia. She ended up with Lewy body's dementia. My dad made a spreadsheet for her to track when to take meds, without food, what times a day. She lived her life going to doctors and on meds. And ladies, listen, this would have set her free. This would have set her free. So for me, what caused me to say yes, Andrea, is that I watched you for a year and I saw you getting better. And I saw where I was and some very dear people getting sick. And I thought, there's got to be more. There has to be. So that's when I reached out to you. And I can't say this enough to ladies out there. Like, getting in community and not doing this on your own is so, so, so crucial, because as much as we think we know, we still don't know. And you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what to ask when you don't know, it's this whole cycle. And so the simplicity of the tea, the simplicity of the fiber, it's like that food noise, Vicki, that you're talking about constantly thinking about food. I was there too. So I know we're not alone. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter the age. If you are in this food culture, they have literally studied the right salt, fat, and sugar combinations to keep you going back for more and more and more and more. And then we beat ourselves up because we don't have enough willpower. So I would go on these diets, and then life happens. You go to a family gathering, you go to a church function, you go out with your girlfriends, and even eating one meal would put me right back into that, okay, I got to have more, or it's Friday. Well, I'll just start over Monday. It's well, I've already messed up. I might as well just enjoy myself for a while because I'm going to punish myself next week. It's just this, it's insane. So it's the freedom, ladies. Vicki, you talked about it, that you can, we drink the protocol, we drink the fiber, and we know that it is helping our bodies not have those high glucose spikes. So if our glucose isn't spiking as much, our insulin's not going to, we're not going to need as much insulin to bring that down. And then and then also the intermittent fasting gives our body time to heal, time to rest and digest. So yeah, I just am so grateful for the freedom to finally, it feels great to feel great. And I'm beyond excited about our future now, where before I was starting to really think, this can't be it. I mean, this cannot be it. As hard as you fight not to be a part of all of that, I saw myself going down that road. So thank you for letting me share.
Oh, wow. I love that. There's so many nuggets there, that this couldn't be part of our future. You saw yourself going there, and people have talked a lot about the food freedom that it brings. And not that we want to, just throw it all to the wind and not care what we eat, because that's not what Molly's talking about. But it does bring some freedom, because one, you get rid of those cravings. You get, that food noise shuts off, because we're supporting our own natural GLP-1, those peptides within our body. We're supporting those naturally using food as fuel, food at a cellular level. And that's what we see. As your cells die off and renew, we're creating healthier cells. We've got people that have had stage 4 kidney disease. No more. We've got 2 type 1 diabetics on here who have lowered the amount of insulin they need on a daily basis. Their doctors probably would have never, ever thought that would have happened in a million years. Who would have thought? We have Keith, who healed a foot ulcer as a type 2 diabetic, who got off over 100 units of insulin in 24 hours. I mean, and if you want to see some of the grossest things, the foot ulcers, oh my goodness. We have what I consider pure miracles. And it's not that this is the miracle at all. It's our body. is the miracle, and it's doing what it was created to do when we give it the nutrition that it needs. You know, when we feed our garden, literally our gut is a garden, and when we feed that, we're feeding those good bacteria and everything changes. And so, Molly, that's just, I love it. And I'm so sorry when you saying that reminded me of what another friend of mine said. If my mom would have had this, it could have made all the difference in the world. And guys, that's why we're on here. We're not on here just to, we don't want to sell you a product. Okay. We don't. Yes, we have a product that we can sell you. You can go get it on Amazon. You're going to pay more. We do have a discount link. We want to change your life. We want to give you this food that should be in everybody's cabinet, that should be in every woman's purse, their car, giving it to their children. We have children taking this. We have a friend of ours who has a young son, and it totally changed his gut. He's now having bowel movements daily that wasn't happening before. We just had a special needs call. Oh my goodness. You talk about life changing for people. That's what we want. We want to support your body with nutrition, learn from our mistakes, and we're just here to help and serve. And that's the goal. I'm going to show you, let me see, I'm going to show you me. This is me real quick. And you can see the inflammation. This is my big fish picture. I think I was, oh gosh, I don't even want to know how much I weighed there. But I had no neck. I had thyroid issues, autoimmune stuff going on. I had a foot injury. Just you name it, it was happening. The menopause issues, the hormones, just out of whack. Literally, my husband would just touch me in the kitchen. I would go into a hot sweat. And this was after I was done. This was after I was through menopause. This was just like this past year. Who knows what was happening in my body? It was just in chaos. It was out of alignment. And I could feel that chronic fatigue, that fibromyalgia, that those adrenal issues starting to creep back in. And that's not a fun place to be at all, because I'm like, okay, I'm doing everything I know to do. I'm doubling, I'm tripling, I'm doing everything I know to do. And nothing was working. I weighed more last year in January than I did when I delivered all 5 of my babies. And, you know, our family history is you have hip replacements, you have knee replacements, you do this, you develop these autoimmune. I don't want to do that. I don't know about you guys, but if I can do something to support my body, and it was a matter of prayer. God, there's got to be another way. Just like you, Molly, there's got to be something that we're missing. You know, so many, all the ladies on here, there's got to be something. And this was it. And so if you're hearing this, please connect with the person that you're hearing it, that's on their page. Just have a conversation with them. Get in a chat, get in Messenger, just comment on this post, reach out to them, because they have information that they want to share with you, just because they care, because they love you. We want to see our world in a better place. And when we fix our gut, we're learning about anxiety, the gut brain connection. There's so many things that's connected to a gut that's out of balance. And when we bring it into balance, using food, using something so simple, and Rexall Drugs discovered this years ago, guys, it's been around for years. Something so simple as food, as 2 little packets, a tea and a fiber that they've taken out of our food, can totally change everything. So, Molly, what would you say to a lady? We'll let you close this out. What would you say to somebody that's hearing this evening and that just has questions? What would you say to them?
I would say you have everything to gain. I would say that we don't know what we don't know, and just ask what's on your heart. It's safe. We're here to help. But also, we just don't know, one, the freedom that it would give you, but also we don't, you know, I got to go there, Andrea. I sat bedside to my mom. And we have people in our community right now that they were revived. They literally died and they were revived, and God gave them another chance at life to be here on the side, right before they go home to be with him. But the amount of suffering that we endure in our bodies is just not necessary. And I would say I don't understand why anyone out there right now is accepting suffering for themselves. If you are getting up in the morning and you have aches and pains, if you are struggling with headaches, if your hands just don't clench the way they used to, or listen to your body and invest in yourself, I promise you, all those people that you have put first, they want you well too. And it's a guarantee. I mean, it's not about the money. Really, it's truly not. There's the 90-day money back guarantee that can help anyone who, but it's truly not that, ladies. It's truly, you've got to put that oxygen mask on first, because if you don't, the people around you now have to care for you, right? We've been so good to be there for others. And if we don't take care of ourselves, now everybody else is going to have to take care of us. And what I don't like that happens too is in that suffering, it becomes very selfish. Now you have to just think about yourself just to get through a day, you know, doctor's visits and all these other things that end up consuming your life, when there's so much freedom to be out there to run around and play with your grandkids, Vicki, right? And to go out and to be with others and enjoy the life that God has given us to live abundantly. So I just want to encourage each and every one of you out there to just to drink it, to sip on it, to push through the discomfort, because on the other side is freedom of healing, of hope, of health, of vitality, of energy, and decisions and places that you can go, and adventures you can still have. You're never too old to, and it's never too late, truly late. And if Keith in one night can go down 100 units in insulin, one night, what could it do for you? Your issue might not be diabetes, but I'll tell you, you fix that root cause of this insulin resistance and you'd be amazed how your body heals. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure to be with you, ladies. Thank you for opening up your hearts and being vulnerable for the sake of others, because we have it, right, ladies? We have it. We're on it. We're taking it. But we're here for the sake of all those out there that still haven't, in the hope that they'll join us.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, ladies. I
Amen.
look forward to seeing you all in the morning. I love each one of you. And if you have any questions, get with the person that you know that shared this with you and just say, let's have a conversation. That's how it starts. And there's no wrong questions.
Right.
Just ask, like Molly said. Just ask. There's no stupid questions. There's no wrong questions. Even, just ask.
Yep.
Thank you, ladies. Have a great evening. See you
Good
tomorrow.
night.
Thank
Love you,
you.
girl.
Love you all.